If you have a cellular device, I would please ask you to turn it to the off position. Going to begin the service for Loretta Lorie Berger. Officiating our service today be Cantor Shira Ben David, Temple Shalom.
Hi, everyone. I'm certainly honored and grateful to be the one to be here to help really celebrate and honor this incredible, incredible woman. We're here. Certainly, you must be comforted by the many people that came in this beautiful, warm weather to surround you with love for our dear Loretta Lorie Berger, also known to some pretty special nephews as Auntie Loretta. And we're also going to be invoking the love of her dear George, because as much as none of us know what happens in the afterlife, I have to believe with how strong our spirits and bodies are, that somehow we find each other again, and that somehow George and Lori are dancing again. We're going to begin with a psalm, one that's familiar to you. I'm going to be chanting it in Hebrew. I want you to have an opportunity to know what I'm chanting. So in your programs, Psalm 23, a psalm that reaches beyond even the Jewish faith, even in the Catholic faith, these words are meaningful. Adonai roi lo echsar bino teshayar bitzeni al mei menuchot yenaleni. Nafshi yeshovev, yancheni v'maglei tzedek, l'man shemo gam ki elech b'gei tzalmavet. Lo ira, ki ata imadi, shivtecha umishantecha, hema yenachamuni. Taroch lifanai shulchan neged Tzorai. Adonai roi lo echsar. Adonai roi lo echsar. Will you read these words with me? The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. We are about to receive sweet treats and thoughts from people that love Lori so much. I don't think I've ever met nephews that love their auntie so much. So to begin, I would love to have Barry come and join me.
Hi, everyone. My name is Barry Rosen, one of Auntie Loretta's nephews. Auntie Loretta preferred the name Lorie. It was more modern than Loretta, and Auntie Loretta, Lorie, was always a modern woman. But although she was Lorie to most of the world, she was always Auntie Loretta to us, her more than 30 nieces and nephews. She was Auntie Loretta to me and Randy and Mark, and to our spouses and children and grandchildren. And while we were technically her only linear nieces and nephews, she was also Auntie Loretta to my dad's sister, Auntie Ethel, and her husband, Uncle Jerry Falcon's entire family. Gail, Shelley, Steve, Robin, and their spouses, children, and grandchildren. What a bounty to have more than 30 nieces and nephews. And Auntie Loretta loved each and every one of us, and all of us. The whole extended niece and nephew family called her and loved our Auntie Loretta. And so that's what I'm going to call her today. Our mother, Sally Blue, was 10 years older when her only sibling, Loretta, was born. I remember Mom telling me that when she was growing up, she sometimes couldn't go out because she had to babysit for Auntie Loretta. But that it was really okay, she said, because her friends loved coming over to help babysit for Loretta, who was such a cutie. Auntie Loretta was a teenager in the 1950s and only 13 years older than me. One of my first memories of her was of her wearing bobby socks. And in the 1960s, how much she liked the Beatles. When Auntie Loretta married Uncle George, well, they both hit the jackpot. There's this great picture that Cindy and Marcy posted on Facebook and Instagram of Auntie Loretta and Uncle George dancing. So happy, so joyful, so in love. That's how I remember it. After Uncle George came into the family, Mom and our dad, Norman Rosen, and Uncle George and Auntie Loretta became almost inseparable. Mom often told me that while the 10-year age difference between her and Auntie Loretta seemed like an eternity when they were younger, as time went on, they grew closer and closer until they became not just sisters, but truly best friends. And before Cindy and Marcy came along, Randy, Mark, and I were not just nephews, but almost like Auntie Loretta and Uncle George's children. They took us to Blackhawks games and White Sox games, never the Cubs. And Uncle George coached me in Little League baseball with my dad, while Auntie Loretta would sit in the bleachers and watch the game with my mom. Mom and Dad, Auntie Loretta, Uncle George, Auntie Ethel, and Uncle Jerry shared many friendships through a close-knit not-for-profit called Open Hearts, which raised money for mental health services for children. They sold lock boxes, ran bingo games, and canned for coins on the streets. They hosted parties, established a bowling league, and spent weekends every year at Nippersink. And so our parents' lives, the Rosens, the Bergers, and the Falcons, became completely intertwined, both at the relative and friend levels. And the extended family, Cindy, Marcy, me, Randy, Mark, and the Falcons, along with our grandparents, Zadie, Paul, and Bubby Dorothy, Zadie, Joe, Bubby, Bella, and then Charlotte and Paula, celebrated every holiday together. Auntie Loretta and I had a special relationship. As time went on, just as the 10-year age difference between Auntie Loretta and my mom seemed to get shorter, so too did the 13-year age difference between me and Auntie Loretta. And although she was always my Auntie Loretta, we became better and better friends. I could talk with her on the phone for hours about anything and everything. She was smart and warm and thoughtful and caring, always asking about my wife Margie and our kids and grandkids, always offering sensible advice. And she was a lot of fun. We went to restaurants and plays and concerts together. We saw Art Garfunkel and Lindsey Buckingham of Fleetwood Mac, among many others. And she traveled the world. About 10 years ago, when I was on a bike trip with my brother-in-law, Tom, we ran into Auntie Loretta at Toro Synagogue in Newport, Rhode Island, the oldest synagogue in America. When our mom passed away almost 9 years ago, and our dad at 90 became a widower, Auntie Loretta came to the rescue. She made sure that Dad, who easily could have sat home and read the newspaper every day, all day, had a social calendar. They were always going out to concerts and plays and movies and restaurants, and Auntie Loretta made sure that Randy, Mark, and I got reports about Dad, his health, his eating, etc. We will forever be grateful to her for all of her caring. Auntie Loretta was a unique person. She loved all of us, all of her more than 30 nieces and nephews, exalting in our successes and accomplishments. She was a lot of fun. I'm going to miss our long talks. I'm going to miss my Auntie Loretta.
Hearing how deeply intertwined and close this family is, it's not surprising that just one person swooped in and made a phone call, and then here I was. So, dear Randy, if you would come, because you cared so much to make sure that we were all here together.
I'm shorter than Bear, so I have to move this down a little bit, in case you didn't notice that. I also learned something in the last couple of days. This better? Better? Lean into it? Okay. I also learned something in the last couple of days. You see, I always thought that I was the favorite nephew, but I also learned that Barry was the favorite nephew, and that Mark was the favorite nephew. We were all her favorite nephews. Through my many tears over the last several days, I can't help but smile as I remember my dear Auntie Loretta. Not everyone is fortunate enough to have an aunt as wonderful, thoughtful, and kind as she was. I can't help but smile when I think of all the times I spent with Auntie Loretta. One of my early and vivid memories was when Auntie Loretta and Uncle George, as Barry had mentioned, took me to see Bobby Hull, Stan Mikita, and the rest of the Blackhawks for my very first hockey game at the old Chicago Stadium. I immediately fell in love with hockey. I was 11. No, don't worry, I'm not going to go through every single year since then, the 65 years, although I could easily do that. I can't help but smile, recalling the time Martha, Oliver Sholem, and I were planning to host Pesach. Auntie Loretta called me to ask what she could help with. Well, her U.S. patented killer mashed potatoes were always a given for every holiday family gathering. She inquired, "Who's making the soup?" "Me." "You're making the soup? Do you even know how to make soup?" "No." "Okay, go to the Hungarian kosher market and pick up a chicken. Don't dare go to the Jewel and pick up that crappy chicken." Then she proceeded to give me the list of all the ingredients that were needed to make the soup. Auntie Loretta came over to our home. We spent an entire afternoon teaching me how to make chicken soup. We had a blast, laughing, joking, talking, kibitzing, telling stories, and of course, tasting the soup to make sure that it was just perfect. I can't help but smile remembering our conversations, as Barry had said, as we talked often, easily for an hour or more each and every time. In our conversations, we shared secrets, we shared thoughts, and we laughed a lot. I can't help but smile when I think of Auntie Loretta and how she loved to go to the theater, plays, hear music, and see shows. Auntie Loretta would call me to ask if I was interested in a particular performer, show, or play, and to inquire if I wanted to attend with her. And many times we enjoyed those shows together. The last performance that we attended together was about a year ago. We went to see comedian Louis Black at the Skokie Theater. North Shore Performing Arts. Thank you. Thanks, Mars. I can't help but smile when I think about Auntie Loretta and how she loved to go to restaurants. I would venture to say that she probably tried them all. If you needed a critique, Lorie Berger was the person to call. Truth be told, my aunt was not bashful in sending back some of the things that weren't up to her standards. And I see a lot of shaking heads. You may have gone out to dinner with her and known that. I can't help but smile knowing that Auntie Loretta never forgot my birthday, always sending a beautiful card and called with good wishes. I hope I thanked her enough. I hope I thanked you enough, Auntie Loretta, for all that you brought to my life and our family. I'm going to read a short poem I found. They didn't have the name of the author on the poem. An ant has no wander wings, so she works with wisdom, love, and things. Having taken on this role, she loved me right down to my soul. You offered kindness and greetings with a hug and a kiss, each out of love, which I will surely miss. I chose a twinkling star in the sky at night to say a prayer for you to its bright light. You are in heaven now without any pain. In my thoughts you will always remain. How lucky I am, how blessed I've been. You were more than my aunt, you were my friend. I can't help but smile when I think of you. Shalom, Auntie Loretta, shalom.
Mark? Yeah. Oh, yeah. So Mark with his son Henry going to share a song with us. Mark is also one of, the favorite. Every time I introduce one of you, I'll say, this is the one. This is the favorite nephew. They don't want to. Yeah, I already tried.
My aunt was always very supportive of this music I play. So play a song for her, family for y'all.
when we want to share gratitude in services, but we don't want to clap, we sometimes we go like this, or we say psh, psh. That was incredibly beautiful and special, and not the way it usually turns out when family tells me they're going to get up and sing something. It's never like that. You put Billy Joel to shame with your harmonica and many others with your guitar, and the two of you sang beautifully. And you even got to get the word blue in there. I thought to myself, how did she let go of that name, Blue? Was there a moment where she said, why do I have to become Berger when I have the best last name? Thank you so much. There's a lot of favorite nephews and a lot of favorite family members, but there's only one favorite grandchild. So Jason, with your beloved Cindy sitting, watching, more upset than you are, would you come and share some words?
Thank you all for being here today to celebrate the life of my wonderful grandmother, my Gaggies, whom we all shared, cherished, and loved so much. To give a little backstory on the name Gaggies, it all started when I was learning to speak and I couldn't pronounce Grammy. I tried and I tried, but the only word that came out was Gaggies. My grandmother looked at my parents, she shrugged with that familiar warmth, and she said, okay, I'm Gaggies. And from that moment on, that's exactly who she was for the rest of her life. My grandmother was the most kind-hearted, loving, and caring person. She was truly an integral part of my life and has left a lasting impact on who I am today. All she ever wanted was to be a grandmother, and she loved me more than words can describe. She showed this not only through affection, but attention. Even though we lived 2,000 miles apart, she always made it clear that she was right there for me. We talked constantly on the phone, sometimes about a new recipe she found, sometimes about something exciting that happened that day. But most of the time, she just wanted to ask how I was doing. Knowing I always had someone to call, someone who genuinely cared, meant the world to me. I will truly miss those conversations. And it's very hard to imagine a world where I can't pick up the phone and talk to her. Gaggies also help make me worldly. I feel like the luckiest grandson in the world to have traveled with her to Alaska, Canada, Italy, Spain, France, Croatia, and Israel for my bar mitzvah, plus all the wonderful memories with her in California and Chicago. She gave me a love for life, for travel, and for adventure, and that spark she lit in me will always stay. She was such a thoughtful person, too. One of the things I loved most were her birthday messages. She always tried to be the very first one to call me on my birthday, sometimes waking me up. Here's one she left back in 2018.
Birthday to you, happy birthday to you, happy birthday dear precious, happy birthday to you. I'm going to call you again and sing to you again, but right now I hope I'm the first one to do that. Have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you later. Bye. Love you.
Hearing her voice brings back everything I loved about her. The warmth, the sweetness, the way she made me feel so loved and so seen. That was her gift. She made everyone feel special simply by being herself. Although our hearts are heavy, I feel incredibly grateful for the time I had with her, for the memories, the laughter, the travel, the love. I'm so thankful she was able to participate in mine and Cindy's wedding last year. and sign our ketubah, which is now an integral part of our home. Her presence will always live within me, and I will carry her values, her kindness, and her spirit forward in my life. Thank you, everyone, thank you for everything you were to me and everything you will always be. I love you, and I'll miss you forever.
In the middle of all this sweetness and support are these two sweet little blonde girls. And doesn't matter, right now you are. All right, you're having fun in these years. These two sweet girls, those are Lorie's girls. And oftentimes, when I confront loss with my community, when people lose a parent, they're often also facing all the things in their childhood they're going to have to reckon with. All the kvetching and the things that weren't so perfect, the parts of the relationship with their parents that were complex. And rarely do I get two daughters who, when we were sitting and getting ready for today, just kept saying, wait, Cantor, I really want to make this very, very clear. We had the most wonderful childhood. We had the most cheerful, beautiful, adventurous, exciting childhood. I want everyone to know that. And I want everyone to know that my parents loved the hell out of each other. And they loved doing things together, and we loved doing things together. And I think that perfection, and that's what it was, that's the ideal, is pervasive among this whole family. I think it's what brought everyone all together, that you modeled that so beautifully. I love hearing about George loving roller coasters. How random is that? And any woman who sends a steak back 3 times is aces in my book. That's a lady that doesn't mess around. I'm a New Yorker, so I fully approve of the bringing food back and driving waiters crazy. But all done with humor and goodness and love. The love of family, of activity, of being together. I don't see that all the time. Sometimes these moments of coming back together are really the few times of families together. And for all of you, you have many, many joyous adventures ahead together, with Lorie and George shining down on you. And so really representing both the sisters, Marcy, Cindy, would you please come forward?
So those are some pretty great acts and tough acts to follow. But I just want to thank you for joining us today as we navigate the impossible task of summing up the life of someone so incredible in just a few minutes. I guess I'll start by sharing some of my favorite moments with my mom. Our mother was the most incredible woman I've ever known. She always supported us in everything that we did, and she was our biggest cheerleader. Mom would tell us of her childhood and how her mother, our Bubby, may she rest in peace, was so fearful for my mom's safety that my mom never learned how to swim, ride a bike, or the many things that children do and learn as they grow up. She would say to us that she would not allow for her own children to be brought up this way. As a result, Mom would ask us what we'd be interested in doing for extracurricular activities each year and signed us up and schlepped us out for ice skating lessons, swimming lessons, music lessons, art lessons, gymnastics, you name it. We're so well-rounded because of her. She would show up to with our wonderful father to every ice skating show, every concert, every performance, every sporting event. She was our constant. She was our biggest supporter. She was always there to listen to us and help us whenever we needed it. Her sound, sage advice was always appreciated and listened to. Mom always welcomed all my friends into our home like they were her own. My friends loved my mom. She enjoyed opening up our home and encouraged me to invite all my girlfriends over for many middle school sleepover parties. She tolerated our noisy conversations and laughter in the middle of the night and occasionally coming down the stairs and quietly asking us to start calming down to go to sleep. And the following morning, she and Dad would make us delicious homemade pancakes and bacon that we happily devoured. Some of my childhood girlfriends still remember and talk about those fun times. My friends have all insisted I was blessed with her as my mom, and I knew this to be true. Mom was a great cook, and little did I know how good her cooking was until I started getting invited over to my girlfriends' homes for dinner. I'd be served canned vegetables and tasteless food, and then I realized how lucky I was to have a mom who actually took the time to cook delicious meals, new recipes, and always with fresh vegetables for us. Always homemade from scratch, 5 nights a week, always having it ready by 6 o'clock when my dad came home from work. Mom's love of cooking inspired my love of cooking and making dinner parties. She taught me many of her recipes that I still make today, including her most famous, and as my cousins pointed out, and we probably all can say together, killer potatoes. My love and desire for cooking flourished as I got older, and Mom would eat my food and say to me, "Cindy, everything you make is so delicious." And I would say to her, "Well, everything I learned was from you." And she would always say to me, "Well, my cooking is definitely not as good as yours." I remember when I was younger, my mom would sit in the family room sorting laundry, and I would come home from school. When I walked through the door, she would say, "Hi, babe, how was your day today?" And she gave me a big hug and a kiss, and that felt so good. That's the way she was. She loved us dearly, and we knew it. There wasn't a day that went by that we didn't tell each other how much we loved each other. She instilled the importance of a deep connection of love and gratitude between my sister and I. Every phone call with my mom or my sister always ends with, "I love you." And that has now been passed down to Jason and Cindy. After my father passed, times were difficult for her, but I saw a new confidence emerge within my mom. She slowly healed and gained a strong independence. She worked full-time for the Niles School District for over 10 years, which she loved. She traveled the world with her best friends. She flew to California all the time to spend wonderful, meaningful times with Marcy, Mike, Jason, and I. And she was the most amazing gaggies to our son Jason, and now my daughter-in-law, Cindy. I am so grateful to have had such an amazing mom, and I know that I will never be able to forget all the wonderful things she taught me throughout my life. Mom, I'm sure gonna miss you. I'm gonna miss our daily phone calls and our daily "I love you." It's so hard to think of my future without you in it now. I will cherish all of the amazing memories I have of you. I hope all of you will too. And I thank you for coming and to honor my mom. Thank you.
Randy, I really liked the way that you ended what you talked about by just looking over and saying shalom. Because it could mean a whole host of things. A goodbye, wishing peace, a hello. Something I encourage you all to do is to keep your Auntie Loretta, your Gaggies, Lori, very much alive within you. Keep talking to her. Keep listening to her. You'll hear her advice. You'll know what the right thing is to do. So when I was thinking of just a few words I could sing to her, I thought maybe this will inspire you all to move into a new relationship with your dear Lori, your Auntie Loretta, your Gaggies. Hello again. Hello. It's good to need you so. It's good to love you like I do. And I feel this when I hear you say, hello again, hello. Just called to let you know I think about you every night, and I know it's late, but I couldn't wait. Hello. Would you please rise? And in your booklet, I'll be chanting the words of God of compassion, and then we'll read it in English together. El male rachamim shochen bamromim המצא מנוחה נכונה תחת כנפי השכינה עם קרושים וטהורים כזוהר הרקיע מזהירים את נשמת יקירני של הלך לעולמה ועל הרחמים יסיריה בסתר כנפיו לעולמים ויצרור החיים את נשמתו הרוני הוא נחלתו ותנוח בשלום על משכבה ונאמר Amen. We read together, O God, full of compassion, thou who dwellest on high, grant perfect rest beneath the sheltering wings of thy presence among the holy and pure who shine as the brightness of the firmament unto the soul of Loretta Lorie Berger, who has gone unto eternity. Lord of mercy, bring her under the cover of thy wings, and let her soul be bound up in the bond of eternal life. Be God's possession, and may her repose be peace. Amen. Please be seated.
This concludes our service here in the chapel. The interment will take place immediately at the family plots at West Lawn Cemetery in Norridge. Following the interment, the family will be sitting Shiva. Shiva will be held here, Chicago Jewish Funerals, 8851 Skokie Boulevard. Shiva will be from 2 p.m. until 6 p.m. this afternoon. Memorial contributions may be made to 2 locations that are on your folder. Those of you who are online, that information is available on our website. To the City of Hope, 160 East Illinois Street in Chicago. The web address is also present, or the Greater Chicago Food Depository, 4100 West Ann Lurie Place in Chicago. That information is also available here. For those of you going in procession to the cemetery, I'd ask you to please proceed to your cars immediately. Please make sure you obtain an orange funeral safety sticker. That sticker should be placed in the front passenger side of your windshield. We would also ask that you have your bright headlights and flashing hazard lights on at all times. For an additional measure of safety, our staff will be placing magnetic flags throughout the procession. As we drive in procession today, please drive as closely as safety permits to the vehicle in front of you. This is especially important as we proceed through intersections. Please refrain from utilizing your cellular phone. In just a moment, I'm going to invite the pallbearers forward: Randy Rosen, Barry Rosen, Mark Ambrose, Mike Kritzberg, Jason Kritzberg, and Lou Kovitz. I'm going to ask you to please step forward. I'm going to ask everyone else, if you're able, to please rise.